Hello and welcome to this brief What's New video covering the enhancements and new features in ScanCAD software release 8.80. This software release features probably one of the most major shifts to our user interface in over a decade, and I'm excited to share this release with you as we have gone through and given a lot of thought and a lot of energy to streamlining all of the common ScanCAD inspection and reverse engineering workflows to make them more simple, intuitive, and visible for all of our users. So at a glance, we're looking at the new main screen. This is the screen that displays when you first launch the software, and you can see that we have completely changed this screen. Historically, we just had a large logo and you had to go to the menus to access any of the functions, and now we've replaced that with a much larger main screen overview area, or rather job overview area, that shows you important information and commands when you're working with the system. This area is broken up into four major parts. We have the job part, which allows us to create a new job, and that can be anything from scanning an image, importing Gerber, or doing any combination of those based on your system configuration. This job area also allows you to browse the directory in which your ScanCAD software is loaded. So for instance, right now we've loaded a project in this directory, and all of the projects in this directory will be visible in my active job area. And recent, of course, allows me to open up my recent jobs. Now, once I've loaded a directory, all of the jobs in that directory are accessible via this job dropdown. So currently I only have one job in this directory, but if I have more than one, I would see numerous jobs in this dropdown that I could select. Within a given job, right on this main screen, we display that job's contents. So specifically, we display the job layer along with the layer description here, and the user is allowed to select those. Now, just like in previous releases, your selections of the job layer will automatically select the corresponding raster layer, but in the event you would like to select a different layer, you can select your job layer first and come in and select a different raster layer. Now down at the bottom we have four new buttons. The open, of course, allows us to open the layer set that we have configured. Edit layer description, of course, allows us to edit the layer description. Add another layer allows us to scan and or import additional layers. And advanced allows us to perform advanced functions like scan another area, scan again, same part, and also regenerate our previews. Below this area we have our active job information, which shows us both the job project directory and the contents of this job. So you can see this job has 17 Gerber layers at approximately 11 megabytes, 11 monochrome raster layers, and 11 color layers at a total of 2.6 gigs. Scanned area size and DPI. So, and additionally, as you've probably already seen, our new preview window will display whatever you have selected on the left. So if I have the top, let's say the top copper Gerber layer, and maybe even the bottom raster layer, I can display those two simultaneously over here. So I always know what I'm going to open when I click the open button. So that helps really simplify that process. You can also double click on a layer number to open it up, or alternatively, you can double click on the image over on the right. Either one will open up the graphics environment. Now, an important thing to note is that we've really de-emphasized the menus in this main environment. So you'll notice that we no longer have a scan menu. We no longer have a file import function. The menu functions we have are much more limited in this text environment and more specialized. So for instance, if you would like to move or delete a job, you do that in File. Scanner selection, scanner calibration happen in File. Process is more about rotation, flipping, panelizing, and all of this applies to whole jobs, and of course our help area, We have included a feedback button in our help, which will send you to our website to give us feedback and also direct you to technical support and training with this new function here. So, as you've probably noticed so far, anything that you actually want to do within ScanCAD, whether that's importing a new Gerber file and scanning, or if that's scanning a new layer on a reverse engineering project, or anything like that, is going to happen using this status bar down here. So, for instance, if I want to create a new job, I'm going to hit the New Job button and type my new job title. Right? New jobs always start on layer 1, so I don't need to worry about what layer I have selected. Right now it's going to scan into this active directory that I have loaded, but I can of course use the Browse button to select a different directory. Now, I do have the capability to select the Scan Image button. And, excuse me, I don't have that scanner selected, but that's okay. I can select the Scan Image button and select an associated resolution. And you'll notice that these resolutions will tell you whether or not they have been calibrated within the configured period of time. So you'll always know whether you're calibrated or not at any given DPI. We've limited the scan options so you don't see things that are not important. What you see is your resolution, your image type, black and white positive, negative, gray, or color, and your brightness. And of course flip down here, and if you have the backlight over here. If you want to see those advanced functions including preview resolution, scale rate, and focus, you can always click on the advanced button down here to open that window up and configure those. If I want to scan and import a Gerber file for an inspection workflow, then I'm simply going to check the scan image and configure my scan settings, check the imported Gerber file, and use the Browse button to identify a Gerber file. And then hit OK, and I will scan in that layer and import that Gerber file. Now, if you want to scan in a layer other than layer 1, for instance, adding a new layer to a reverse engineering project, you can select the Add Another Layer button, and this will allow you to select any layer other than layer 1. You'll notice I cannot overwrite layer 1, but I can select any other layer, and the rest of the dialog is the same. So I can select Scan Image, I can select my DPI, my image type, my brightness, and again if I wish to import a Gerber file or not. So that's how we add other layers. If I want to create an empty layer, which is a more advanced technique, all I do is press the Create Empty Layer button after selecting the layer. So that is the main difference, and really we find that this simplifies all of the major ScanCAD workflows, so people aren't going to scan menus and hitting and having to hit File, Import a Gerber file and scan. It's all accomplished either using the New button or the Add Another Layer button. So the main differences have really occurred out here, and if you find yourself looking for a menu function that used to be out here, what you'll notice is it's probably been moved into the graphics environment. So if I open up a layer set and come in here, you can see that the menu functions, specifically under File, have changed under the graphics environment. So now I have my full export menu under File in the graphics environment, and that includes Gerber 274X, DXF, Drill, and so on, and my images as well. All of that's under File, Export in the graphics environment. That is probably the biggest change, including Save As and Auto Save Now are all in the File menu. So that's probably the biggest change to the graphics environment. Another important thing to note is that the Merge Gerber Reference Layer into Active Layer that historically was in the Auxiliary menu has been moved over to Gerber Utilities because we felt that that was much more logical and made more sense, whether we're merging Gerber in from another layer here, or you'll notice the Copy function has been moved into this area as well. So we no longer go out to the text environment to copy Gerber to another layer. That can all be done from within the graphics environment under Gerber Utilities, in addition to the solder mask function. So for instance, if I select the Copy function, it's going to ask me what I want to copy and which layer I would like to put that on. So again, just to recap, the Merge Gerber Reference Layer has been moved from Auxiliary into Gerber Utilities. The Copy Gerber has been moved from the main environment into Gerber Utilities, putting those functions right next to each other. And the solder mask function has been moved in here as well. You'll also notice that our toolbars have been enlarged, our icons have been changed and clarified to really simplify what they mean and help make it a little bit more obvious what they're doing. And remember, the tooltips are always there. If you don't know what an icon is, just mouse over it and you'll see the mouse tooltip telling you what exactly that is. Additionally, we have included layer descriptions in our layer selector down below, so when I'm trying to select an additional layer, I don't need to remember that layer 41 is my inner plane fill. I just need to look at my layer description and I can see that and bring that up immediately, dramatically simplifying working with multiple layers. Most of the other menus have remained identical. So the really critical thing is, if you're missing something in the text environment, just know that either it's accomplished using one of those new buttons out in the main text environment, or it's been moved in here, either under the File menu or perhaps under the Gerber menu as well. So thank you for watching this brief What's New video to ScanCAD Core Software Release 8.80. We hope you like it, and we will be providing more detailed workflow-specific videos in the coming weeks.